"This is not normal," one woman exclaimed. "I have heard of people who sleep like this being witches. Is this true? Is your daughter really a witch?" Yejide asked, her eyes wide with fear. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a girl named Ajiun. She was the only child of her parents, Asake and Adio, who had longed for a child for many years. Despite their countless efforts to conceive, their attempts were met with heartbreak after heartbreak, with several miscarriages and failed treatments. They sought help from traditional healers and spiritual guides, hoping for a miracle, but all their efforts seemed in vain. Just when they were on the verge of giving up, something miraculous happened. Asake, having resigned herself to a childless life, suddenly discovered she was pregnant at 7 months. The joy and disbelief that filled their hearts were immeasurable. They had almost given up hope, but the unexpected pregnancy rekindled their faith. This child, they believed, was a true blessing. Asake had never known she was pregnant until those final months. Though she wondered how one could be pregnant for a whole 7 months without knowing, yet she was happy for her pregnancy, which was peculiar in itself. But the strangeness didn't end there. From the moment she gave birth to Ajiun, there were signs that she was not like other children. It was clear she was different. Though she was a calm and content child, rarely crying and eating well, but her sleeping habits were unusual. As Ajiun grew, her mother noticed even more strange things about her sleeping postures. Unlike other children who slept sprawled out or curled up in a fetal position, Ajiun preferred odd concocted positions. Often, Asake would find her daughter folded up on the bed, sleeping in a squat-like position. Other times, Ajiun would lie on her back with her legs raised or leaning them against the wall. It was as if she was mimicking the way animals might sleep rather than humans. These peculiar sleeping habits worried Asake. She never saw Ajiun lay flat on the bed like other people did. Instead, her daughter's strange postures became a source of fascination and concern. Asake tried to correct Ajiun's sleeping positions, gently coaxing her to lie flat like other children. But no matter what she did, Ajiun always reverted to her unusual postures. Despite her worries, Asake couldn't help but marvel at her daughter's uniqueness. Ashake's worry grew with each passing day. The fear of the villagers discovering Ajiun's unusual sleeping postures haunted her. Determined to protect her daughter's secret, Asake took every precaution to ensure no one saw how Ajiun slept. She made sure Ajiun always slept in her room, locking the door securely every night, not even allowing her husband Adio to see their daughter's strange habits. Despite her efforts, Asake couldn't help but notice Ajiun's inability to sleep like a normal child. On many occasions, she would quietly enter the room, hoping to find Ajiun sleeping flat on the bed. But every time, she was met with the same sight: Ajiun curled up in a squat or with her legs propped against the wall. Ashake would gently lay her daughter flat, hoping this time the position would stick. But within minutes, Ajiun would revert to her usual posture. This continued for years, and Ashake's worry only deepened. Her mind drifted back to the tales she had heard as a child. Stories of people who slept with their legs raised being labeled as witches. The thought that her only child could be branded a witch terrified her. The fear gnawed at her heart, and she knew she had to find a solution before the village found out. Desperate for answers and unwilling to risk the local spiritualist, Ashake decided to seek help outside the village. She embarked on numerous journeys with Ajiun, visiting distant towns and consulting various healers and spiritual guides. She hoped these outsiders could provide a remedy without the risk of news spreading back home. They were given countless concoctions to drink, herbal beds to soak in, and rituals to perform. Each healer promised that their method would cure Ajiun's peculiar sleeping habit, but nothing seemed to work. Ajiun continued to sleep in her strange positions, and Ashake's despair grew. One evening, after returning from yet another fruitless journey, Ashake sat by Ajiun's bedside, watching her sleep. The moonlight filtered through the window, casting a soft glow on Ajiun's peaceful face. Despite the odd position, Ajiun looked serene and content. Ashake felt a pang of guilt for putting her daughter through so much in her quest to fix her. She wondered if perhaps there was nothing wrong with Ajiun at all, and the problem lay in her own fears and the village superstitions. However, the fear of the villagers' judgment loomed large. Ashake knew that if they discovered Ajiun's secrets, they would not be as understanding. They would shun and ostracize her daughter, labeling her a witch and making their lives unbearable. The pressure to conform, to make Ajiun appear normal, was overwhelming. The sleepless nights and endless worry took a toll on Ashake. She grew thinner, her face edged with worry lines. But her determination to protect Ajiun never wavered. She continued to shield her daughter from prying eyes, hoping against hope that one day a solution would present itself. But as the years went by and Ajiun's sleeping habit remained unchanged, Ashake began to question her approach. Perhaps, she thought, the answer lay not in changing Ajiun, but in accepting her for who she was. Ashake's fear of discovery made her extremely protective of Ajiun. She ensured that Ajiun never visited anyone or slept at their house. Invitations from friends were declined and sleepovers were out of the question. Ashake always had a plausible excuse ready, often citing Ajiun's need for special care. She hovered over her daughter, always on high alert, her heart pounding with fear at the thought of someone discovering Ajiun's secrets. One Sunday afternoon, despite Ashake's watchful eye, Ajiun went out to play with friends in the village. The children's laughter filled the air as they chased each other and played games. Ashake's apprehension grew, but she told herself that Ajiun would be back soon. Hours passed, and when dusk approached, Ashake's anxiety heightened. Ajiun, exhausted from the day's activities, fell asleep at her friend Bimpe's house. Bimpe's mother, Yejide, went to check on the children and was shocked to see Ajiun sleeping with her legs propped against the wall. Her heart raced with alarm, and she immediately called out to her neighbors, her voice rising in panic. "Come quickly! Come and see this strange scene!" Yedide shouted, her voice trembling with fear and excitement. Neighbors hurried over, curious and anxious. They crowded into the small room and gasped in unison at the sight of Ajiun. Whispers and murmurs filled the air as everyone tried to make sense of what they were seeing. "This is not normal," one woman exclaimed. "I have heard of people who sleep like this being witches." The news of Ajiun's peculiar sleeping position spread like wildfire through the village. It wasn't long before it reached Asake, who was at home, wringing her hands in worry. She rushed to Bingpe's house, her heart pounding in her chest. When she arrived, she found a crowd gathering around her daughter, who was still asleep. "Asake, is this true? Is your daughter really a witch?" Yeyide asked, her eyes wide with fear. Ashake's face burned with shame. She pushed through the crowd, picked up Ajiun and hurried home, her heart heavy with the weight of the villagers' judgmental stares and harsh whispers. At home, Ashake faced her husband Adio, who had heard the news while walking in the fields. His face was a mark of anger and betrayal. "Why didn't you tell me about this, Ashake? How long have you been hiding this from me?" Adio demanded, his voice shaking with anger. "I was trying to protect her, Adio," Ashake replied, her voice breaking. "I didn't want anyone to know. I thought we could find a way to help her without causing a sin." Adio shook his head in disbelief. "You should have told me. We are supposed to face these things together." Meanwhile, the villagers' murmurs and gossip were unending. Ashake was labeled the mother of a witch, and Ajiun was shunned by the community. People crossed the streets to avoid them, and parents warned their children to stay away from Ajiun. "Don't go near that girl," one mother warned her child. "Witches can be mean and hurt people. You never know what she might do. Don't ever go near her." The perception of witches in the village was one of fear and suspicion. Witches were believed to have malevolent powers capable of causing harm to others. The villagers' fear of Ajiun grew, and they kept their distance, leaving Ashake and her family isolated and ostracized. Ashake's heart ached with the pain of rejection and the burden of her daughter's secret. She knew she had to find a way to protect Ajiun and regain the trust of the villagers. But the path ahead seemed uncertain and fraught with challenges. After the incident at Bingpe's house, Ajiun began to live a lonely life. The once lively and cheerful girl found herself shunned by her peers. No one wanted to play with her anymore, and the laughter and camaraderie she had once enjoyed were replaced by solitude and whispers behind her back. The village children, once her friends, now treated her with fear and suspicion. As Ajiun grew older, she blossomed into a mature and gorgeous lady. Her beauty was undeniable, and men admired her from afar. However, the label of a witch cast a long shadow over her life. No man dared to approach her for marriage, fearing the stigma attached to her. One man, however, saw beyond the rumors. Ojo, a young man in the village, had admired Ajiun for years. Despite the warnings from his parents and the villagers, his heart yearned for her. His parents, especially his mother, vehemently opposed the idea. They feared the consequences of their son marrying a woman believed to be a witch. "Ojo, you must listen to us," his mother pleaded. "This girl is not normal. She will bring nothing but trouble." "But mother, you don't understand. Ajiun is kind and beautiful. I don't believe the stories," Ojo argued. Despite his parents' objections, Ojo was determined to pursue Ajiun. He sought her out, confessing his love and admiration. "Ajiun, I don't care what others say. I love you," Ojo said, his eyes filled with sincerity. Ajiun's heart swelled with joy. For the first time, someone saw her for who she truly was, not the witch the villagers believed her to be. She felt a glimmer of hope and happiness she had long thought impossible. Their love blossomed, and Ojo's affection for Ajiun grew stronger each day. They spent time together, walking through the village, talking about their dreams and sharing moments of laughter and tenderness. The villagers watched with a mixture of curiosity and concern, their whispers never far behind. "Ojo is playing with fire," one villager said. He should listen to his parents." Ojo's parents, especially his mother, were frantic with worry. Ojo was their only son and they couldn't bear the thought of losing him. His mother began visiting spiritualists, seeking their help to break the bond between Ojo and Ajiun. "Please, help me make my son see reason," she begged one spiritualist. "You must end this relationship." Her efforts bore fruit, and slowly, Ojo's feelings began to change. He started avoiding Ajiun, no longer seeking her out or spending time with her. Ajiun, confused and heartbroken, confronted him. "Ojo, what's happening? Why are you avoiding me?" she asked, her voice trembling with emotion. "I don't know, Ajiun. I don't feel the same anymore," Ojo replied, unable to meet her gaze. Their breakup was devastating for Ajiun. She felt her heart shatter as the one person who had seen her for who she truly was turned away. Her days were filled with pain and loneliness, and she feared she would never find love or happiness. Her parents tried to console her. One evening, as they sat together, Asake spoke softly to her daughter. "Ajiun, my dear, don't lose hope. You are strong and beautiful, and your true worth will shine through," Asake said, her voice filled with warmth. "But mother, what if no one ever loves me again? What if I am alone forever?" Ajiun asked, tears streaming down her face. Adio, her father, placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Ajiun, love will find you where you least expect it. You are special and someone will see that. Don't let this break you." Despite their comforting words, Ajiun's heart remained heavy with sorrow. The joy and vibrancy she once had dimmed by the weight of her heartbreak and the constant fear of rejection. Meanwhile, in the shadows of their seemingly happy household, Ojo's mother had resorted to drastic measures to ensure her son's separation from Ajiun. She had mixed a hatred potion into his food, a concoction given to her by one of the herbalists she had consulted. The potion was designed to make Ojo slowly dislike Ajiun, erasing his feelings for her bit by bit. The villagers, always eager for the latest gossip, speculated about the breakup. We knew it wouldn't last, they whispered amongst themselves. It was only a matter of time before Ojo came to his senses. They congratulated themselves on their foresight, never suspecting the true cause behind the sudden change in Ojo's feelings. Ojo's mother, feeling victorious, rejoiced in the success of her scheme. It was for his own good, she told herself, proud of the lengths he had gone to protect her son from the perceived danger. She watched with satisfaction as Ojo distanced himself from Ajiun, believing she had saved him from a terrible fate. Meanwhile, Ajiun's world crumbled around her. The heartbreak from Ojo's sudden coldness left her feeling depressed and desperate for a way out. She began to question her own existence, tormented by the villagers' perception of her. Was she truly a witch? Was she cursed? The questions gnawed at her, driving her to the brink of despair. Determined to change her fate, Ajiun made a conscious effort to alter her sleeping posture. She hoped that if she could sleep like everyone else, the villagers might accept her and her life might return to normal. But no matter how hard she tried, she found comfort and peace only in her usual sleeping position. The familiar way she folded herself on the bed or leaned her legs against the wall was the only way she could truly rest. Despite her efforts, nothing changed. One night, she tied her legs and hands, laid down on her chest, flat like everyone else, hoping this time it would be different. But as the night wore on, something strange happened. Her body ached, and her mind refused to calm. She struggled to stay in the first position, feeling more restless and uneasy than ever before. As the minutes turned into hours, a sense of dread washed over her. She realized that no matter what she did, she couldn't change who she was. Her body instinctively shifted back to her usual posture, and she felt an overwhelming sense of defeat. The villagers' harsh words and her own doubts filled her mind, making her question whether she would ever find peace or acceptance. One night, in a moment of desperation, Ajiun decided to try one last thing. She tied her legs and hands once more and laid flat on her chest, forcing herself to stay in that position. But as sleep began to take over, something strange and inexplicable occurred. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, kindly like this video, share this video to your friends and family, drop a comment, and also subscribe for more interesting videos. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.